Hi, Steve Stine here. I'm going to be showing you how to play the next section of Dust in the Wind. I have a first video that talks about the intro. This is going to cover the verse, and it's going to cover the chorus. Okay, so if you haven't already watched that one, you should watch that one first. It talks about the finger picking pattern and all that sort of thing, and this one just extends from there. And then also remember, if you have any requests for songs that you'd like me to teach, make sure you click on the link below and let me know what it is that you're interested in learning, okay? So let's start off by first talking about the chords we're going to need for the verse. We're going to need a C chord. We're going to need a G/B chord. And what we're going to do for that is we're simply going to take this C chord. Our middle finger is going to go up to the 5th string on the 2nd fret, and our pinky is going to drop down to the 2nd string at the 3rd fret. So we're moving from this C to this G/B, which is really a G chord, like a 4-finger G chord, and it's the middle 2 notes of that 4-finger G chord. And remember, our finger picking is happening on the middle 4 strings, okay? So that's why we don't really need those outside strings. Otherwise, it would actually be a G chord if we were using the whole thing, but we don't need that. So we're transitioning from this C to this G/B, and our first finger can stay there. Even though I'm putting my middle finger up here and my pinky on the 2nd string, and my first finger is still on the 2nd string, I can leave it here. And the reason is because my next chord, my 3rd chord, is an A minor. So if I just leave my first finger on there, I can just kind of pivot on that first finger going from C to G/B to A minor. Now, the finger picking pattern is going to be the same as it was in the first video. It's going to go like this. Now, we do have to edit a couple things real quick. So first of all, I'm doing C for a measure, G/B for a measure, and then A minor for 2 measures. Here's the first problem, is when we get to this A minor, the very first time we pluck this pattern, we're actually going to go to the 1st string in our pattern. So instead of staying on these middle 4 strings doing the same pattern that we've always done, we're still going to do the same pattern, except the very first time we're going to drop down to this 1st string. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm coming from C, G/B. Now right here, when I go to A minor, I'm simply going to take my middle finger, I'm going to drop down here, then go back up. Okay, so I have C, G/B, A minor. You see, so A minor for 2 measures, but the very first time I pluck this 1st string instead of the 2nd string. Okay? Then we're going to keep going here. We're going to move to a 4-finger G chord. Okay? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my entire pattern that I've been using, and I'm going to shift toward the floor. So I'm going to be using these bottom 4 strings here. Okay? I'm still going to do the pattern, but on these bottom 4. But here's the next problem. The very first time I pluck this, I'm going to have to go up to the 6th string for a bass note. So it's going to look like this. See how I went up here with my thumb? Then I drop back down. Okay? So please remember, the pattern itself is exactly the same. The only thing you're changing is which strings you're actually picking. Okay? Where in the intro, you just stayed on these middle 4 the entire time. Now we're shifting. So I've got C, G/B, A minor with 1st string right there. Then I'm heading over to the G chord. So I'm going to drop that pattern down. 6th string comes up. And again, remember that I'm only using that on the first time. Then I drop down. And then I'm going to go to a D minor 7 chord. Now a D minor 7, if you don't know that one, it's actually like an F chord if you've played F where you press on the first 2 strings at the same time. And then you add your middle finger right here on the 3rd string 2nd fret. And then you add your ring finger on the 4th string 3rd fret. Only for a D minor 7, I just take that finger off. So now I've just got those bottom 4 strings. And I'm going to stay on those bottom 4, bottom down here, okay, for 1 pattern. Okay, so I don't go up anywhere. I just stay on these bottom 4 right down here for that D minor 7. Okay, so here's what I've got. C, G/B, A minor 1st string, and back up. Now G down here, but I go up here with my thumb. D minor 7, I stay down here. And then I go to A minor for 2 measures. The first measure, again, I'm going to drop down with my middle finger and pluck that 1st string. And again, remember, if you don't know the picking pattern and stuff, go back and watch the first video to pick up on all that stuff. So here it is, full speed, playing through that intro or that verse section. Okay? So again, you're building your right hand, you're building the pattern of your left hand. If this is all fairly uncomfortable for you, you just practice your chord progression first. Just practice C, G/B, A minor, G 4 finger right here, D minor 7, A minor. Just get that in your head and then start building into the pattern. And then start building into the switches, these I call them red flags. Anytime something's different, you make an alert in your head. So as I'm playing, I'm thinking, okay, I got C, G/B, then I've got this A minor, so I gotta go down here. Then G, I gotta spread out, I gotta come up here and down here. D minor, I squish together on the bottom here. Then A minor, first string only again. Okay? Now that's what the verse does. But again, there's a little hiccup in this. From the first video to this video, we have to get from the intro into the verse. And then we also have to get from the verse to repeat the verse again. So there's a little tag that they do, okay? And I'm just gonna call this a transition, okay? It happens on the A minor chord. So watch this very carefully. What you're gonna do is this little thing right here. Sorry. Okay, so what I'm doing there is I'm moving from the intro of my song. If you've watched the first video, I'm coming from that little thing right there. That's the transition, and it's going to always transition us from a part to another part. For instance, from the intro into the verse. So when you're leaving the intro, which is from video 1, and moving into the verse, which is this video, you're going to be on that A minor, and you're going to go through only the first half of the picking pattern. So you're plucking these 2 strings, the 2nd and 5th strings together. And then the middle 2 strings, which is the 3rd and 4th strings. So instead of doing the whole pattern, we're not doing that. We're just going. Okay. And then we're going to pluck these 2 outside strings, which is 2nd and 5 again. And then we're going to go to that G/B. And that's why I'm showing you this now, because I want you to learn that chord first, okay? So you're going. That's going to be our transition. Okay, so I'm plucking the 2 outsides, 2 insides, and then I'm plucking the 2 outsides again, going to the G/B, and then I'm starting my verse. Okay, so if you're practicing going from the intro into the verse, you're going to need that transition. If you're practicing the verse and you've gone around and you're going to do the verse again, you're going to need the transition again. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you I'm playing the end of the intro into the verse, going around and then doing the verse again, nice and slow. So here's the end of the intro. Right here. C, G/B, just like we talked about. A minor first string. G on the bottom strings, D minor 7, A minor, right here. See, I got to transition again to get back into that C to do the verse again. And again, the most important thing for you is not only practicing this, but really getting to know the song, so when you're trying to play it, you can hear that transition that I'm talking about, okay? So, in summary, we do the intro, we do the transition, that leads into the verse. We do the verse, we do the transition again to do the verse a second time. Okay? So, coming from my intro again, a little bit faster this time. Here we go. C, G/, or here's your G, D minor 7, A minor. Here comes that transition. Or here's your G, sorry, D minor 7, A minor. Thinking about too many things at the same time here. Okay, so the second time we come around the verse, we're not going to do that transition to get back into the verse again. Otherwise, we would endlessly be looping into the verse. So the second time we come around, we're just going to go to that A minor for 2 measures. So I'm coming off my G, D minor 7, A minor, and that's where we're going to lead into the chorus. Okay, so video 1 explains the intro, explains the picking pattern. What we have in this video now are 2 parts. We've got our verse, we've got our transition. Our transition will be used whenever we're in the intro going into the verse, or when we're in the verse going to the verse again, getting from this A minor to this C. That thing. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to try and play along with me here. Okay? So I'm going to skip the first transition because if you haven't really worked on the first video, or you're still learning that, it might be a little bit fast. So let's just start on the C. We're going to do the pattern once, okay? And then we're going to go to the G/B. And again, I'm going to try and yell these out to you as best I can and still play at the same time without getting screwed up here. All right, so on C, so we have bum, 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 nice and slow. And again, if that rhythm is really hard for you, that picking pattern, you got to just practice that. So 1, 2, ready, go. G/B, A minor first string, then A minor normal, then G on the bottom, 4 with the 6th string. D minor 7 is on the bottom, A minor in the middle with the first string, then here's your transition. Then you start all over, C, G/B, A minor with the first string, then G, bottom 4 with the 6th string, D minor 7 just on the bottom 4, then A minor first string, but this time you just do a normal measure. And again, remember, the second time around, I'm not going to do that transition again to go back into the verse because I'm done with the verse. I'm now going to make my way into the chorus. All right, so this is the chorus now. We left off on an A minor chord. The next chord is a D with F sharp in the bass. And for many of you, you might just want to make D and put your thumb over on F sharp, and that's perfectly fine. D with F sharp. I'm going to show you how I finger it, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got an A minor chord right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my middle finger up to the 6th string on the 2nd fret, which is F sharp. That's the note I want. And then I'm going to bring my pinky over to the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Okay, so my first finger doesn't need to be on the guitar anymore. Okay, it can be back behind there where it was. It's fine because my pinky's in the way anyway, but I usually take it off. So I'm on my A minor and I'm pivoting on my ring finger. So instead of refiguring like this, what I'm doing is simply going from my A minor, pivoting on that ring finger, over to this D with F sharp in the bass. Now remember, we don't need the first string anyway, so that's why I don't need to make a full D chord because I don't need this anyway down there. So I'm pivoting over like this. Now, I'm going to play the picking pattern as I normally do, except the strings I'm going to be using, it would be the middle 4 strings as usual, except my thumb needs to be up here, and it needs to be up there the entire time. So I'm not going to transition back down to this 5th string. I'm staying up here the whole time. So I'm on these 3 strings as I normally am, but my thumb's up here. Now, I'm going to go to a G chord, and I'm simply going to do that by moving my middle finger up to the note G on the 6th string. I don't need the rest of the G chord because I'm not playing it anyway. I'm going to play the exact same strings I just played on that D F sharp. I'm going to play the same strings on the G. So I'm playing 2, 3, 4, and 6 with my pattern, of course. Then when I move to G, I'm just sliding up 1 fret. I'm going to play the exact same pattern. Then I'm going to go over to the A minor chord. Okay, so now the A minor is just normal. I'm going to drop back down. I'm going to be in my middle 4 strings, my home, if you will, doing the exact same thing I always do. Okay, so I pivot on my ring finger. I make D F sharp. And again, I know you might want to make D, F sharp this way, but just bear with me because I'm going to show you what happens here. So D, F sharp, up to G, which is just that one finger. Then I got A minor in the middle here. Now, right here, my pinky's going to go up to the 6th string. So I'm on A minor slash G is what I'm doing. So I'm taking my pinky up to the 6th string. When I do that, now my picking pattern, my thumb's going to go back up to the 6th string. So I'm still in this middle 4, but my thumb's got to come up here for the whole duration. And the way to think about it is, anytime you're doing something on the 6th string with your left hand, it would make sense that you're picking it with your right hand, because otherwise, why put it up there? So I've got D, F sharp, G, A minor, middle. See, so right there, I brought this up, 6th string, and I put my thumb up here with my right hand. Now I gotta get back to D, F sharp, so all I do is pivot on my ring finger again. I start all over. G, A minor, and now I do a transition, into the C, into my verse again. So that's how I'm going to get back from the chorus back into the verses with that transition. Okay? So the reason I'm using this fingering as opposed to this is it's a bit smoother for me to move from this shape to the G, just sliding up, A minor, adding G, and flipping. See, I can have some constant. I don't have to lift the whole thing up and start. Now, could you do this? Of course you could. Right here. You could do it any way you want. So just understand the shapes that you're looking for. So I've got D with F sharp in the bass. I'm moving to G, and on both of those chords, I'm using the 6th string up here with my thumb. Then I'm moving to A minor, and then I'm adding G in the bass with my pinky. And then I'm going to start all over, so I got to flip over back to D, F sharp, G, and then A minor, and then the A minor transition. Okay, and you'll always hear that in there, but now you know what you're actually supposed to be doing. And there are a couple of times, or at least once in there, I know where he goes, and it's like longer than, you know, dun, 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 dun. He actually goes dun, dun, or something like that. So again, you got to kind of use your ear with this. So the most important thing is that you're figuring out what you're going to do with your left hand. You're figuring out the pattern of the right hand, but then you're also figuring out the transitions. When do you have to come up? When do you have to drop the whole hand down? And with this video, remember, you can always pause it and just write everything down. You know, write each part down as you go. If you're kind of confused, always just go back to the beginning, watch whatever you need, build that part, and then come back to it, and then keep building the next part. So here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to play the entire thing from the very beginning, which is the intro, which is the first video, all the way through this chorus, building into the second verse, the second time around. So you can kind of see how the whole thing flows. So here it is. Kind of slow, but not too slow, because I don't want this to take way too long here. So here we go. So this is all from the first video. A minor. Now the transition's coming right up here. G slash B. Here's the part we just talked about. Transition. Here's the chorus. Transition. See how that one was slow? I know that's where it is too, is right before the second verse. It actually does just that. Bum, bum, nice and slow, and then it goes back. It starts all over again. Okay, so that's what we're gonna wrap up in this second video now, is getting used to playing the verse, the chorus, and then that transition wherever we need to put that. And then make sure if you have any questions about it that you let me know. If you have any interest in a song that you'd like me to teach you, please let me know by clicking on the link, and I'll do my best to get to it as soon as possible. Otherwise, remember, just be patient and practice hard, but don't try and get everything all in one sitting. If it's kind of confusing, the number one thing that causes problems with people when they're learning how to play songs is that they try and do things too fast. The most important thing is develop a concept. With this particular song, one concept is the pattern. Just learning how to play the pattern. One concept are the chord changes. And of course, the third concept is the connections between the parts that you're trying to learn. What is the verse? What is the transition? What is the chorus? When do you go to them? And of course, the more you know the song, the better the song is in your head. The more you can think of it, the easier it is to play as well. So take care, practice hard, and I will talk to you soon.